Filipino fans made their way to catch the Pinay tennis phenom in action.
I've been coming to this tournament for 10 years. So I'm excited that we finally have a Filipino here again.
I got a selfie with her, and also this is my first ever tennis tournament ever. So I'm excited, this is special.
Filipino tennis star Alex Eala takes center stage at the BNP Paribas Tennis Paradise in Indian Wells. And of course, Filipino fans turn out in full.
Filipino tennis star Alex Eala steps into the spotlight at the BNP Paribas Paradise in Indian Wells. And of course Filipino fans arrive in full force, cheering loudly, proudly for her. Something remarkable is unfolding ahead of the Stuttgart Open as the tennis world starts taking notice. Markus Günthardt, the tournament director of the Porsche Tennis Grand Prix in Stuttgart, has made a decision that is sending shockwaves through the WTA Tour. Alex Eala, the young Filipino tennis sensation who has been turning the sport upside down, will not be entering the Stuttgart Open through qualifiers. Günthardt has placed her directly into the main draw. And once you understand everything that has been building around this player, you will understand exactly why this decision was not made overnight. It was made because the evidence had become too overwhelming to ignore. Let's talk about what actually happens inside the mind of a tournament director when they make a call like this one. Günthardt has been running the Porsche Tennis Grand Prix for years. He understands the business of tennis as well as anyone. He knows that Stuttgart is already one of the crown jewels of the WTA calendar. A clay court event with history, prestige, and a deeply loyal fan base. He does not need to chase headlines. But even a tournament with all of that behind it can feel the difference between a year where the world is watching and a year where it simply moves on. And Günthardt has been watching what happens when Alex Eala shows up somewhere. What he has seen has changed his entire calculation. Because here is the reality Günthardt is sitting with. Every tournament director who has fully embraced Eala, who has placed her on the biggest court and given her the main draw position she deserves, has walked away with results they had never seen before in the history of their event. That is not speculation. That is a documented pattern. And Günthardt is far too experienced to look at that pattern and do nothing. Think about what happened at Indian Wells. The 2026 tournament will be talked about for years, not because of who won or lost, but because of what one player did to the entire ecosystem of that event. The moment Ella's first-round match was confirmed, fans flooded the ticketing platform with demands so extreme that the system buckled under the pressure. Prices skyrocketed to levels nobody in the history of that tournament had ever seen. And when it was all tallied up, a single first-round match had generated $5 million in ticket sales. Not a final, not a semi-final, a first-round match. The phrase that emerged from that moment, the ELA effect, is now spoken in every tournament office on the tour. Günthardt has heard it. He knows exactly what it means. But the Indian Wells story goes deeper than just the money. What it revealed was that Eala is not just drawing tennis fans. She is drawing people who had never considered going to a tennis match before. People from all corners of the globe with a singular purpose: to be in that stadium, to feel that energy, to be part of something historic. When a sporting event starts pulling in that kind of audience, it is no longer just a tennis tournament. It becomes a cultural moment. And Stuttgart now has the opportunity to be exactly that.
For all the support that's been coming my way, and it's really heartwarming to see that they really they make the effort and they take the time to come out and to support, and it makes the experience for the...
Then comes what unfolded in Austria when Eala was drawn to meet Julia Grabher at the Ladies Linz Open event. Nearly 90% of tickets were not purchased by Austrian fans supporting their home player, but by Eala supporters coordinated across borders, flooding the stadium from around the world together. Grabher, playing on home soil, stepped onto court feeling like the away player there. Sandra Reichel quickly realized exactly what she was dealing with there immediately. She publicly committed to placing Eala on the biggest available court and confirmed she would personally welcome her to the tournament, and stating that the atmosphere would be unlike anything the Ladies Linz Open had witnessed in its 35 years history ever. Günthardt has read every word of that story, and he has wondered what it truly means for Stuttgart, a tournament already equipped with infrastructure and prestige to amplify everything Eala brings now.
And
Yeah.
it's great always to welcome new players and newcomers and players who will own the future, I would say. So it's great, yeah, to welcome Alexandra here in Linz in this special year, and it's also our
Yes.
first time.
Then there is Miami. James Blake didn't wait for the wave to reach him. He stepped right into it. He put Ella on center court and spoke openly about what her presence would do for the tournament. He pointed out that her appeal had already broken beyond the usual tennis crowd, pulling in fans from Asia, Europe, and North America, who normally never follow the sport at all. And that kind of audience expansion is something no marketing budget can ever fabricate. It only happens when a player creates it naturally. Blake even predicted Miami would shatter revenue records because of her. And Gard has taken careful note of every single word he said. Now what makes Stuttgart's decision even more complex is the surface itself. Stuttgart is a clay court tournament, and clay demands freshness, sharp thinking, and complete physical control. Qualifying rounds can drain exactly those qualities before the main draw even begins. So by placing Ella directly into the main draw, Gard isn't only making a commercial choice, he is also making a sporting one. He wants her arriving at full strength, ready from the very first round, because he has already seen what she can do when she's physically and mentally free. And he wants Stuttgart to be the stage where that version of her appears. There is also the warning written in what happened when tournaments failed to fully adapt. At the Australian Open, Ella was placed on smaller courts despite massive demand from her fan base. The result was complete chaos. Hundreds of thousands of fans stuck in endless queues, many never even getting inside. Instead of reducing her impact, it only amplified it. Her supporters became even more intense, and the tournaments that adjusted properly reaped the benefits. The Australian Open's miscalculation is now viewed across the sport as a lesson in what not to do. And Gard has no intention of letting Stuttgart become that example. Beyond the numbers and logistics, there is also what the players themselves are saying. Jessica Pegula, one of the most experienced names on the WTA Tour, faced Ella in Miami and described the atmosphere as something she had never experienced in her entire career. She said the fans weren't just watching, they were living every point, every rally, reacting with an intensity she called overwhelming. A level of energy she had never seen anywhere else, whether in Australia, Dubai, or Miami. And Novak Djokovic, a man whose words carry unmatched weight in tennis, called Ella the greatest tennis player the Philippines has ever produced. That isn't casual praise, that's recognition from someone who understands greatness at the highest level. Gard has seen all of this. He has studied the crowds, the numbers, the reactions, and the transformation happening tournament after tournament. Putting Ella in qualifying would have meant ignoring everything the season has shown. It would have been Stuttgart refusing what Indian Wells earned, what Linz embraced, and what Miami confirmed. So instead, Gard has accepted a different reality. Alex Ella in the main draw isn't just good for business, it changes the entire identity of the event. The crowd in Stuttgart will not look like before. The atmosphere won't feel like before. And it all begins with one decision. Alex Ella is not a qualifier here. She is a main draw attraction. A player the world now comes to see, and now the real question is simple. Does Stuttgart become the next Indian Wells moment, or the next lesson in what happens when you underestimate her impact?